Let's have a look at what's making international news, and joining us to discuss, as he always does on a Monday morning, is Professor at RMIT University, Joe Siracusa. Good morning to you, Joe. No guessing what the top story is around the world at the moment. It is the coronavirus, which is affecting just about every facet of life. First of all, to the Democratic race for the presidency. There is a debate that is taking place today. It has been moved to Washington. Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders. How important is it in terms of the context of what's going on around the globe at the moment?
Good morning, Pete and Laura. Look, it's very important because in this debate, which is the first one-on-one between Vice President Biden and Senator Sanders, we have which one is going to sell the American people that they're best able to deal with the coronavirus and the crisis that's here. And the other thing is we're going to find out if Joe Biden is going to make any concessions to Bernie, because this is a critical moment for the Democratic Party. I mean, Bernie led an insurgency, which had a lot of great ideas, including universal health care and debt relief for students and stuff like that. And he represents millions of millennials who would maybe vote for Biden, maybe not. So Biden might have to come to the party and concede that Bernie's got something right. He's already conceded the change of the bankruptcy laws with Senator Warren, and the other thing is, who's really what Sanders going to do? Is he going to play nice, or is he going to be scorched earth? He's going to go out the door and say, look, if you don't want to do anything I want to do, then I'm going to take my people away, and then we'll have another Republican victory. So there's really a lot at stake today as this coronavirus, and I've been saying for weeks now that the tsunami is coming. But Pete, Laura, I've been looking at 1918 reels all weekend of the Spanish flu, and it's clear that the social distancing is everything, because people were getting killed by the tens of thousands after being on troop ships. And in America, we have people going in different directions in different states. I mean, my only concern right now is that we don't have a coordinated global response. We got the Brits doing their things, and Americans doing their things, and the Australians and New Zealanders. I mean, I'd like to see a little leadership coming from somewhere, and we're not quite getting the global leadership yet. And that's really what Biden's going to try to say tonight. Look, vote for me, and I'll put us back in the driver's seat. I will organize these things, and we will take this thing on head on, and we'll beat it. So there's really a lot at stake tonight, not only just the Democratic candidates, but the coronavirus crisis and how we go forward.
Donald Trump has been criticised from some quarters that you would expect for his handling of the crisis itself. He went from really 0 to 100 in just a matter of days, and now he has tough border restrictions, particularly from Europe. What is the view of how he has dealt with it?
Well, there's a very important op-ed piece in the Washington Post yesterday about from a former national security advisor in charge of pandemics, and that there was a unit there during the Obama years, and to deal with the next coming pandemic, and that unit was dissolved for whatever reason, maybe money, maybe it was reincorporated somewhere else, and so America has had to begin from zero after the Ebola crisis and the other the SARS crisis to deal with this. So Trump receives a great deal of criticism. Look, I think he's trying to recover a little bit. He looked very poor when he was at the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta. I mean, he looked like he couldn't wait to get out of the building. The body language was just terrible. And I wish to hell he'd take that damn hat off while he's talking to people in front of a camera, because he looks like he's at a sporting event. And so Americans are going to hold him a little bit accountable. I mean, the Republicans are saying he's doing a good job. But look, about 60% of Americans are very worried about the kind of job he's going to do in the weeks ahead. Very important decisions have to be made. And frankly, Pete, Laura, we are digging ourselves a black hole here in terms of the economic impact of the coronavirus. I mean, as you know, in Australia and the United States and Europe, everything's going backwards in many ways. So we're going to be crawling out of this hole maybe for 6 months, maybe a year, maybe longer. So who's ever got a positive policy? Now, I think the other thing tonight is that in that debate is Bernie suggesting that the universal health care is the best way for Americans to approach this, or does Biden think that just the leadership's enough? And Bernie's been pushing this this health thing. As you know, in America, as Bernie likes to say over and over again, 78 million Americans either do not have insurance tonight or they're underinsured. So, you know, these people are toast if there is a crisis or if this thing starts to spread all over the place. And Bernie's saying that we got to do something about this. And maybe this is the moment where America will become the first industrialized nation to realize that universal health care is, as Bernie says, a human right.
We've only got about a minute left, Joe, but I was interested in your comment just then about the Spanish flu. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. So what did your research tell you about social distancing when it came to the Spanish flu?
Well, with the Spanish flu was going on at the last stages of the First World War, America is sending literally millions of troops to Europe, to France, to take on Imperial Germany. And I found out this weekend that President Wilson knew about the lack of social distance in these camps and these boot camps, etc. And his own Surgeon General, acting Surgeon General, told him that it's very dangerous because he's finding the death warrants of tens of thousands of Americans by putting them on these troop ships. So it was clear then that the virus, which, by the way, we never got the cure for it at the time. I mean, it was many years later. They thought it was a bacteria. That social distancing would have saved a lot of lives. But because of the mass movements of troops, that is why most of the people who died were between 19 and 29. The best part of their lives, very strong men, and they're falling over. So I think the thing is sort of the crowd control. If you can just keep people at a distance. And those are the days when poor people slept 4 to a bed and all the rest of it. But they knew then that they had something on their hands. They didn't know how to deal with it, except they knew that when crowds came together, there was a disaster the next day or the next week. So I think that's one of the lessons that I learned. All
right. Joe, as always, good to get your thoughts on a Monday morning. We'll talk to you again next week. Thank you so much.